Hey everyone, so Blizzard has just released a bunch of information on 11.2, which is the next patch to come, Season 3 of The War Within. It will be the final season, so do anticipate that things will get a little bit crazy. We'll be at full strength, we got a new legendary cloak coming, and all that good stuff. But Blizzard is actually doing something really unique with the tier set. So that's what I want to talk about in this video today. Some of the tier set stuff coming. Maybe refer to you guys as well to my wish list that I made for Feral. Hopefully some changes that we could see. It looks like Blizzard is making a bunch of changes to these classes and specs. So maybe we could see some Feral stuff along the line. Maybe they got some more stuff to come. But yeah, so with these tier sets, they are doing some interesting things this time around. Because they've added hero talents into the War Within, they're actually doing hero talent specific tier sets, which I think is a really phenomenal idea. Because what it's hopefully going to do, like a big issue with tier sets in general is that they lock people into talent choices in general. And then people get really upset because they feel like they're forced to play a certain talent or a certain side of the tree. And it kind of is a little bit like sort of gating you into one sort of playstyle and limits variety and all that kind of stuff. And makes things a little bit samey, right? Whereas if you have this hero talent tier set tuning, then you can complement certain plays, certain talents, like different builds. So this is a really cool idea. I'm actually really supportive of Blizzard on this. I don't know how you guys feel and how the wider community feels, but I'm all for it. So we are going to get a Druid of the Claw tier set for Feral and a Wildstalker tier set. So that's what I want to talk about in this video. Now, we all know that the true damage comes from really nice transmog. So that's why we're actually going to take a look at what they look like first, because that's what truly matters. It's not about like getting high IO or clearing the last boss on Mythic. It's about how you look doing that. So obviously as Ferals, we don't get to enjoy this anyway, but this tier set, honestly, is one of my favorite for a long time. It does feel, I do feel a little bit like a Bionicle. It is a little bit sort of shaped and like cubey and stuff, but I really love the idea and the inspiration and the themes. So I'm actually really with it. Like the boots look cool and stuff, because you know sometimes with the sets, like maybe the shoulders look really cool and the helm looks really cool, and then everything else is just like blocky and kind of bad. But I love these little furry boots and like sort of the wrappings and stuff. So that's like the base set. Actually, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of what's her name? Not Phantom. What's her name in Overwatch? She has the gun. She flies up in the air. Somebody will tell me in the comments, but that's what it reminds me of actually. She has like very similar colored skins. She has a skin that is like sort of Native American-y inspired. But I do really like this. I think the Mythic one looks amazing. Look how beautiful that is. This is the kind of set that makes me wish that, like, you could have some kind of... Like, it would be cool with this tier set. It reminds me of, like, old Incon, where you actually changed and you had, like, the armor plating. Imagine if you could have sort of some of that back with Druid. Oh my goodness, how many of them are there? I've not even seen all of these. But yeah, these look really, really cool. Some of the color schemes are a bit weird, but the Mythic one looks phenomenal. So that's what the tier set looks like. You guys can compare to all the other classes. I know Warlock's always going to look the best. I mean, let's just look at Warlock really quick. Because Warlock always is the best. Let me quick fire through that. So that's Death Knight. Let's find out if we have a good tier set. Okay, they look like a Razor Blade. It's fine. I like the Gargoyle shoulders. What about Demon Hunter? I mean, let's look at the Mythic one, right? Demon Hunter, yeah, glowy, flowy. They might be getting a new spec as well, which is pretty sick. Congrats for them. What about this? Evoker. Is that the Mythic one? Don't really like that too much. Hunter? Looks... Oh my goodness. Okay, well, not the worst. Wait, is this a Mythic one? Which one's the Mythic one? Okay, that looks like leveling gear. Oh my god, I won't be playing survival this season. Holy moly. I guess that's kind of cool. You look like Zyvezzer or whatever, or like a Broca, but wow, that is rough. Okay, what about Mage? Mage looks okay. It looks okay. Kind of magey stuff. What about Monk? Oh, I do play a lot of Windwalker, so I'm interested. Which one's sort of like the Mythic one? Monk looks not great either. Okay, maybe actually Druid's in a decent spot. Paladin, though. Holy... Did Blood Elf Paladin set like that? That looks pretty sick. Mainly the helmet looks really cool and sort of like the long dress thing. That looks... Oh, that looks good. Okay, that looks good. What else? We got Priest. I'm going to quick fire through some of these. I have seen this. This is Zalatath's shoulders, like the dagger shoulders. That looks pretty sick, actually. I do like that one. I think that's probably, like, pretty cool. Oh, this looks good with Rogue, actually. Some of these skin colors. Yeah, I actually like that. I actually like that. It is a little bit basic. I mean, that looks decent. Sometimes with these graphic updates, it looks a little bit, like, too clean, almost. Okay, Shaman? I can't make up my mind on that one. That might grow on me. It's very similar to something they've had, like, recently, but maybe not as good. Okay, what about Warlock? Warlock always has the best one. If this was any other class, I'd say it doesn't actually look very good, and it's a bit basic, like leveling gear, but because it's Warlock, it actually looks not bad, but not great. And then this must be Warrior? Oh my god. They look like a pineapple. Is there a green one? That's a pineapple, dude. That is a heavily plated pineapple. I would struggle to get into the juicy bit of the pineapple, that's why. Okay, right, let's actually get into the juice then. Druid has a pretty good tier set looking, like visually. Right, let's actually get into the meat. So, 2-piece for Druid Claw. Ravage increases your haste by 10%, chance to crit by 10%, and the damage your bleeds deal by 30% for 5 seconds. That, honestly, is mental. Because you can get Ravage. I mean, in Mythic Plus, is like you play Druid Claw in Mythic Plus, you play Wildstalker in Raid. That is pretty mental. You might, I don't know if this might change things. Maybe you end up playing this in like Raid because there are some components here which are like really strong. But you can for sure get Ravage every 5 seconds, or like roughly every 5 seconds. You probably get maybe close to 50% uptime on this. So that might just be like a flat 5% haste, 5% crit across the board, and then like 30% damage. So like 15% damage if it's like roughly 50% uptime, right? But that's really good. And then you get the 4-piece. Ravage has a 40% chance to make you ravage your target again 4 seconds later at 100% of the initial power. Now, I would think that this is going to proc a separate 5-second timer for, like, with this is sort of Ravage Echo. I'm looking forward to that visually. It's going to kind of remind me of, like, Shadow Thrash if you played in Legion, and I did like that. It made Thrash a pretty meh spell, like, feel actually pretty cool, and actually buffed its damage a decent amount. So that might be really, really good for the uptime and everything of the 2 set. So, yeah, that seems pretty strong. Obviously, it's going to refresh the bleed on everything. So that is powerful. Pretty happy with that. I don't really have any complaints there. Now, Wildstalker, we've got the 2-piece. The rate at which Bloodseeker Vines grows is increased by 40%. Tiger's Fury causes Bloodseeker Vines to grow on up to 3 valid nearby enemies. So, more vines. Tiger's Fury is gonna then, like, give even more vines. And then the 4, which is like, okay, that's fine. Doesn't really, it's kind of whatever. But the 4-piece is where this really comes in. So, Bloodseeker Vines have a 20% chance to trigger Bursting Growth, which is the AoE thing, right? Whenever Bursting Growth, a mob dies with Bursting Growth on it, or when you bite a vine, it Bursting Growth on everything. So, any vine has a 20% chance to trigger that effect every 2 seconds at 100% effectiveness. So I don't fully understand the, like, every 2 seconds. Is there, like, so every 2 seconds for X amount of time? Or if it's, like, there's a 2-second sort of tick where either they proc or they don't. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out. I need to get on the PTR and test it. But But okay, so we're going to get some more bursting growth damage. Now, what is that going to result in? That's just going to result in more AoE damage. It technically will do more single target, but it's not necessary. It's like more AoE. There's more of the AoE component, really, I would say. Each stack of Bloodseeker Vines on an enemy increases bursting growth damage taken by 30%. So, this is sort of more of a single target component. Because if you can, like, this is where the single target component comes in, because if you play Wildstalker on single target, you maybe get 3 or 4 stacks on a mob. Sometimes if you're really lucky, like, yeah, I think 3 or 4 is probably, like, roughly what you're looking at. So if that's gonna stack that up quite a bit, that could be quite significant on single target. So overall, I'm like, Wildstalker for me, I don't know. I feel like this is fine. We'll look at what the damage ends up being, but they need to figure out what they want Wildstalker and Druid of the Claw to be, because Druid of the Claw seems just more of like that AoE one, and then Wildstalker seems more of the single target one. The problem was with getting this AoE here from Wildstalker, right? They tried to like put more AoE into it and stuff. Problem with that is that it's just AoE. It's not it's not as much like a priority target damage, so that's less desirable in like Mythic Plus. It makes it more of a just like sort of a pad damage thing, which is not necessarily the end of the world. There are some specs in the game that don't really do a whole lot of prio damage, and they are just more like pad AoE, and they just burst a lot of stuff down quickly. So I'll mess around with Wildstalker. I think a big thing for me to make me want to play it in, say, like a Mythic Plus environment would be either more prio damage, like more predictable prio damage with the Vines, which you can sort of get with the Tiger Fury component. Not from this tier set, but from the talent tree. It's like, okay, I think I'd want to see, like, I don't know. Actually, I don't know, because for me, I just want to get Twin Moons. I really want to just be able to dot a bunch of stuff and have like Double Clawed Rake, Twin Moons, which is 2 Moonfires, Swarms, bunch of Vines, everything popping off, everything just dotted up. Like, I would love that. That doesn't fix what I just said a second ago, though, about priority damage, but it would just be really fun to play. And honestly, if this is quite fun, like seeing these Vines burst and stuff, I might actually play more of it if it's a bit more competitive with like Druid of the Claw. And I think this will go a long way, because the problem right now with Wildstalker in Mythic Plus is that the Vines you don't have enough of them, and you have to like search for Vine targets. If it was more often than not that Vines were just out, then you could pretty much pick your priority target. And so hopefully this plays alright. Hopefully this will play alright. I think in Raid it'll be good, because you'll get a bunch of Vines stacking up, so you're fine there. But I'm also looking at Wildstalker from like a Mythic Plus component. I'm pretty happy with Druid of the Claw and the tier set there. I think that's going to be solid. This, we'll see, and I will try and provide feedback on it. But let me know what you guys think. What you guys think of the tier sets, the looks, the power, maybe some adjustments you guys would like to see, or if you're just happy with it. But yeah, that's everything for me on the tier set. Hopefully this has just been like a fun little look at what we can expect. So see you guys in 11.2.